It's just been growth. We started to grow out our team, which was amazing because it went from the 3 of us to 6 of us and now to 15. We obviously, this whole concept is about the female shoppers. So 2015 has been about acquiring as many of those shoppers as possible. So we started off with around 5,000 shoppers in January of this year, and we've grown to 65,000 now. So it's been hard won, but I suppose the response and the support in Ireland has been unbelievable.
So I think over the last few years, Ireland has grown phenomenally in terms of the offering for startups, both the funding from government and county agencies, and then also accelerator programs, but also very much kind of the community that's grown around that, which largely kind of the Web Summit had a good impact on that, very much helped to kind of bring a lot together, but there's so much as well that's coming out of it. So in terms of kind of the funding that's out there in this sport, there's great ample opportunities to do it and to secure some. So we actually came from Accelerator, the NURC in Dublin, and that was a really good opportunity for us. It was 3 months of seed funding, office space, mentorship, and that very much kind of converted our whole kind of mindset around actually thinking of a business model in a very lean and a scalable way. So there's a lot of opportunities. What we would say is they're all very competitive.
Sometimes it's like there's a myth that there's lots of money out there to access, but as Grace said, it's very competitive, so you need to be very, very focused about what you want to do, and you need to have a very tight game plan, I would say, and you need to be quite resilient as well, because oftentimes, you might not achieve success the first time you apply for something, so you kind of have to just keep the head down. If you're that committed, keep the head down and keep applying and keep knocking on doors. Yeah, I think there's definitely a romanticised view of not setting up a business. I don't even think people look at those cold hard words. It's setting up a startup, and of course, there are brilliant, really exciting accelerator programs. There's a lot of influence from Silicon Valley in the States, and there can be a lure to this perceived lifestyle. However, I mean, the minute, from day one of Launchpad, we realised it was sink or swim. I think when we started, on this whole process, there wasn't as much focus, or maybe should I rephrase that, there wasn't as much support necessarily that specifically highlighted women working in business. I think now you've got programs like Going for Growth, which we're actually on, and it's phenomenal. You've got the Female CSF Fund, and also, I think more importantly, you've got really, really strong and very visible female CEOs or just generally women working in business. We feel very strongly about supporting other women in business. So collaborating where we can, showcasing, profiling, spotlighting other women in business. I think the world of startups, technology, fundraising, it's a very tough, quite brutal world, and I think you just have to decide yourselves how much of it you're willing to take on, and how much of it, for us, I think there was a point where we were like, okay, how much do we really, really want to make this work? We really want to make it work, so therefore we're just going to bull through everything. When we started off with the business, it was fashion, 3 females.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes that can be a hard sell.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe because it's so strikingly obvious when you think about it, or when you read something like that it doesn't immediately dawn with people. So for us, when we were kind of going through a lot of our fundraising rounds, trying to understand or explain something that we innately understood, just by the nature of our business and being females focused on selling to females, and for us it was it's something that we didn't even need to think twice about. You could do all the market research, but it's just supporting what you kind of innately know underneath it all. But when you're trying to communicate that to a completely different audience, I think it was quite easy maybe for people to not maybe take it so seriously.
I think it's just about finding the right language to communicate with the right audiences. There's irrefutable evidence about the value of this market. It's just about communicating that in the right way.
From the product focus, there are kind of two key trends that we're understanding at the moment and planning for next year. So the biggest one is mobile, and that's all new. It's been talked about for the last few years, but I think it's important as well that our target market aren't early adopters necessarily. They're not the first ones in there to use mobile and to check out on mobile. However, what we are starting to notice is the massive jump in actually using the product on mobile and actually starting to check out on mobile as well. The second biggest thing, and I suppose it's almost less functional, but it's seeing where I suppose people are sourcing their content and the inspiration from. So Opsh is kind of the one destination, one place to go shopping and to browse all your stores and to check out. But we're very in tune with our target market and where they're living online. And 10 years ago, as a woman, even before the internet, you would have went to a magazine and you choose the magazine that you like and you shop directly from it. But nowadays, it's not just the magazine is kind of crippled down into social media, Instagram, bloggers, content sites, publications, magazines online, which are starting to grow a lot in the last few years as well. And for us, what we're focusing on is extrapolating that basket solely from the Opsh.com site and allowing it to follow you around online. So where you're actually sourcing your content and your inspiration from, and allowing you to save your products outside of the actual platform and then coming back to the platform to fulfill that checkout. So that's a big piece of work that we're working on at the moment, and we're in discussions with 2 publications over in the UK as well to understand how their shopper or how their reader is moving around their site and where they're shopping from.
As users sourcing their content, it's completely changed from years ago. It used to be the magazines, stuff like that, but now they're everywhere. So for us, it's about trying to stay one step ahead, and so that's why we've been working so much with style influencers. And it's not just on the usual blogger sites, it's people who are solely on Instagram. They're Instagram stars or they're YouTube stars or they're this and that. So we're try and source and identify the right people to work with who I suppose influence the shopper that we, not that we want, but we feel that
that we're targeting
for the Opsh site.
Next year for us, as much as this year has been about growth, it's the same next year except ramped up even more. We've always positioned the shopper at the very heart of what we do. Like we are online shoppers, we've built this for other online shoppers. So so much of our business is modelled around what the shopper wants, and kind of as you mentioned earlier, that changes quite rapidly in the online space. And for us it's staying that one step ahead. So the widget, so Grace's creepy explanation of something following you around online is actually a widget. So we're going to be launching that next year. We're going to be really ramping up our influencer program and kind of growing our retailers as the shopper base grows. So not just kind of free for all, but like being very, very considered, because you can't do everything at once.
What we find is one of the most important things in growing our business is finding the right people that are happy to work with us in growing Opsh. And we find amazing people back here in Dublin, and brilliant kind of technical talent as well as marketing and as well as retailer sales and everything. And for us, like there's so much value here in the people here. We don't need to be over there. But.
Like obviously any Irish business looking to grow and looking to scale is going to be looking towards the UK, if not the States. For us, we're more interested in the UK and Europe because, like women, we shop more, we've got seasonality, we spend more money. Most of the brands are kind of like UK with like international reach. So we'll be going after that market, but we're super happy being here in Ireland.